Hello, 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 hello. How are you guys doing today? Nice to see you here. Today I'm gonna be playing some chess, but before that, I'm gonna be showing you some of my favorite openings. And if you've been here a while, you know which one those are. And if I'm just gonna talk in singular, which one that ow, my hand! Okay, that was not a good idea. Anyway, which one that is. So guys, the opening that I'll be showing you is the Bengal, and I'm gonna show you how to play against the Bengal with white. And today I'm not just gonna be showing you like how to play the Bengal, like I'm not gonna show you that because I have no idea. I suck at playing the Bengal, but I'm gonna show you how to play against the Bengal. So it's by no means the best thing to play as white, but I have really good results with it, and it's a really tactical line, and I know that a lot of you have asked me to show you the opening, so I thought that I would do that today. So yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea because I'm never gonna be able to beat you with it anymore, but yeah, it's a pretty obscure sideline. It's a very much big sideline, but I thought that it might be like there are some fun tricks in it, and I think it's really fun to play it in Blitz. I don't know if I would recommend it to play like high level over the board games, but it's definitely a really fun really fun opening for Blitz games. Alright, let's show you the Bengal! Let's show you some Bengal here. It's kind of a coffee house opening. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A real Swede would call it a fige opening. Mew! I did not invent this opening. I am just putting a name that's funnier than the original name. Yeah, I doubt so too, Owen, to be honest. But whatever. You know, something is better than nothing. Okay, guys. Let's show you what the coffee opening is. This starts when you go d4, right? You know me, you know that I always go d4. So then after that, yeah, black goes knight f6. And this is if white goes c4, black goes c5. Here I play d5. And then we have the Bengal if black plays b5 here. So this gambit here, this is the Bengal gambit, basically. You're giving away your b-pawn. And the reason why you're giving away your b-pawn is because you're arguing that you're going to be able to play a6, you're going to be able to open up these files, and you're going to get a lot of pressure into the queenside pawns at the same time as you're going to get a lot of piece development. So, basically what black is trying to do is just that black is trying to get a lot of piece development and just get really active in this opening. So that's why you're giving away a piece here. So, or giving away a piece, that's why black is giving away a pawn in this gambit. So that's pretty much the reason why people would play it, and it's considered to be a pretty good opening. I mean, a lot of strong people have played it, and it's a very tactical opening as well. Yeah. Well, basically, so here, I mean, typically what you want to do is that you want to take this one. You want to take the pawn. And here, the main move for black is to go a6. So this is typically always what happens. I mean, if black ends into Bengal, then this is what's going to happen pretty much. And then here, I mean, you can do different things as white. You can do a lot of different things. You can take on a6. You can go e3, which is a really solid opening. I play sometimes e3. I think this is really good. I don't really like b6. You can go knight c3. This is the move that I'm going to be showing you. You can go a lot of different stuff, but you could go b6. That is one line, definitely. That is one line just saying, you know what? I'm just going to leave you with a weird pawn on a6. I'm going to give back the pawn, but I don't care, basically. So yeah, so knight c3. Here the idea is that, well, you're protecting the pawn and b5, but actually after takes, you don't really want to take back with the knight. There's another idea here. So this is typically the main move. Some people will go g6, but if they go g6, then you can just sort of be happy and just say, you know what, I'm gonna go e4 now, and whenever black takes on b5, we can take back with the bishop instead of the knight, because the knight wants to stay on c3. The knight on b5 is like sort of misplaced. You'd rather take with the bishop if you can. So you could just be happy with g6. I mean, a lot of people will play this against you. I have played a lot of games with this, but I'm just always really happy. And I think this was the game that I won in Title Tuesday like 2 weeks ago when we won that really nice game. That was when my opponent played g6. So basically here we go knight c3. Now we said that if g6, then we go e4. But a lot of people will just take on b5. And that is the type of opening that I'm going to be showing you. The bishop is pretty strong if black takes pawn. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The bishop gets out. It has a nice square on b5. And it's just going to be a happy bishop. So yeah. But now the problem is that now we cannot take back with the bishop. We would have to take back with the knight. And once again, that is like a perfectly, decent move. It's a decent move. Probably black will play something like, I don't know, bishop b7, bishop a6, queen a5 check. There are different ideas here. But the coffee opening that I'm going to be showing you now, it's got exciting. Wait and see. You might be a fan of playing against it, at least. So, it's if you go here, e4. Instead of taking back the pawn, you go here, e4. Look at this. So, what is the idea with e4? Well, two ideas. The first one is that you're just trying to protect this pawn on d5, okay? You're just saying, I want to take this pawn with the bishop, just like in the other line. And at the same time, I want to protect my pawn on d5, just so that my knight and queen don't have to, be the ones protecting it. I want to take some space, and I want to push my pawn. So central control, that's what we want here. And the idea after that is, yes, the beautiful idea after that is that if your opponent is not careful, you can checkmate your opponent in, listen to this, guys, I am not even kidding, in 7 moves. You can checkmate your opponent in 7 moves if your opponent is not careful. And I have done that in over the board. I beat a 2100 in 7 moves. It was a checkmate, guys. And that can happen. That happens more than you think it does. I have won several games here on chess.com, blitz games, against 2200 players where they have allowed this checkmate. It's a pretty thematic chess checkmate, so if you've seen it before, you won't forget about it. But it's really easy to miss it. Basically, the idea is that, yeah, it's an okay opening if black knows what they're doing, but it's an awesome opening if black does not know what they're doing. And let me tell you, 80% of the people in that are under 1900, 2000 have no clue about what they're doing. So that's the nice thing about this. That is the nice thing about this. So yeah. So guys, here the idea is that one would think, okay, but what happens if black goes b4? What happens if black goes b4? And then, when I move my knight, the pawn on e4 is hanging because it looks like I'm just giving up this pawn, right? Because after b4, my knight needs to move, and then the knight on f6 can take the pawn on e4. So, we're going to look at that, because that's what I'm up for. Because once again, if g6 here, then this just transposes to what we were looking at before, bishop takes b5, and this is sort of what we're looking at. This is just what we were looking at before. A lot of people will play g6 in this moment, but you can just sort of be happy. Other people will play d6 and allow to take here with a check. Just be happy. Come on, you're giving me a free pawn. My pieces are gonna get out. I might lose the game, but it's not gonna be because of the opening. So if any other move but b4 or perhaps queen a5, you should just be happy. But yeah, let's look at this. So b4 is the move here, typically. And here you say, all right, you know what? I'm going to go to a square where my knight cannot go to any other place, but I'm confident and I know that I'm not going to lose my knight there. So going knight b1 or knight e2 is just very passive. Knight b1, I mean, yes, you could go to d2 and stuff, but then black just takes on e4 and there's no compensation for white. And if you go to e2, then you're just blocking this bishop. Black just takes on e4, and it just sucks. So basically, you go knight b5 here. That's what you do here. So you go knight b5, and this knight sort of looks like, all right, you know what? I cannot really go anywhere here, but I'm just gonna chill on b5. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be lost. I'm just gonna chill here for a while. And worst case scenario, you can always go you can always go a4, and if takes, you can go knight takes a3. So there's always this a4 idea. So you shouldn't really be scared about this knight here. The knight is just chilling on b5, guys. The knight is doing good. The knight is enjoying the coffee, which this opening is. So yeah. And here we go. So here there are a lot of moves. The main move for black is to go d6 here, actually. This is what especially people that are maybe I don't know, over 1800 will play d6. This is a very sound move here. But a lot of people who haven't seen this before and who might think that you're just blundering might go knight takes e4, saying, you know what, dear opponent, you just blundered a pawn and I'm going to take it with happiness. So if knight takes on e4, well, then there are some problems here. Then there are some serious problems. And what happens after knight takes e4, after black has just won this pawn on e4? Well, basically what happens is that you can go queen e2 here. And after you go queen e2, this knight is lost. And what is the reason? Well, the reason is that you are pinning this pawn here. After this knight moves, you're pinning the pawn on e7. Because the king is here on the same file. So whenever you put your queen or your rook in the same file as your opponent's king is, you always need to look for tactics. So here black has already lost the knight because of the simple reason that if knight f6 or knight f6 is the only move basically. If knight f6, then we have knight d6 checkmate. Yes, exactly. So now we have knight d6 checkmate. And here we can see what an amazing queen this is on e2 and how great it is that there's no other piece interfering in this file. Before there was a pawn on e4 interfering, now there's no pawn to interfere, and now there is just a checkmate. And what happens then? What happens if knight takes e4, queen e2, and f5? Well, the beauty of this is that it happens the exact same thing. You go f3, and there's just nothing that black can do, because once again, if knight f6, we have knight d6 checkmate. The king cannot go to f7, so we just have f3 here. So this is just a really nice line that you actually can win against a lot of people, especially if you're lower rated and you're playing against people that are lower rated. You're gonna win so many games against the Bengal with something like this if they fall for it. So I'm just gonna show up till I actually lied. The checkmate is an 8 or 9 moves. So I exaggerated a little bit with the 7 moves, but still, it's still. It's just it's a great opening. So I'm just gonna show you from the beginning till the checkmate, the 8 moves, and then we'll look at the other lines as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and start it from the beginning, just so you can see. So we go d4. We go d4, knight f6, c4, c5, d5. We just push the pawn. And here we have b5. This is what the Bengal is. So whenever they play b5 here, then we have a Bengal. So after b5, we take the pawn. We say, all right, we're going to get into a Bengal, but I'm going to take the pawn that you're giving me. Because if we don't take this pawn, then black is just going to get a lot of activity on the queen side. So then we take a6, just trying to open up the files here on the queen side. Knight c3. We're now in move 5, guys. Move 5, knight c3, and after takes on b5, we go e4. We protect that pawn on d5. We protect it. That's what we do. We protect it, and we want black to play b4, which is what black has to do, because otherwise black is going to lose this pawn on b5. So, b4, this is move number 6 here. Move number 7, knight b5. And here, d6 is the main line, but if knight takes e4 in this line, we have queen e2, and after knight f6, we have checkmate. And if f5, after f3, and knight somewhere, doesn't matter, we have the same checkmate again. So we have the same checkmate all the time. So that's how the line goes. So d6 just gives normal game. Exactly. But after d6, there are several other ideas as well, which are really good to look at. So let's go ahead and look at them. But once again, d6 main move, but if in this position they go knight takes e4, we have this queen e2 winning a piece. So remember that. So let's go ahead and see what happens after d6, which is the main move here. You can play a lot of different moves as white. You can go knight f3, you can do a bunch of really cool stuff. But I'm gonna show you the line with bishop c4, which is what I play. I typically play bishop c4. And the reason why I go bishop c4 is because I want to get this bishop out really early. And at the same time, I also want to protect this pawn on d5. So I just go bishop c4. And at the same time, one could think here, what happens if knight takes e4. So we're gonna look at it. We're gonna look at knight takes e4. We're gonna look at g6, and we're gonna look at bishop d7. No, sorry, knight d7. But guys, one thing that's really interesting here, which, okay, I'll show you in the other line, but there are like some really difficult moves that black need to have to defend. So in this position, we can start with what happens if knight takes e4. This is the first thing that we can start with, because that's the first thing you need to think about. What happens if we blunder the pawn on e4, if we like give away the pawn, if black just takes the pawn on e4? We're gonna go for the same thing. We're gonna go for queen e2, and after knight f6 here, after knight f6, I believe that we can go bishop f4. I think that this is the idea here. And now we're once again threatening d6. So now we go bishop f4, and we're threatening to take on d6. And here pretty much the only move is to go rook a6, I believe. But I mean, this just doesn't really look that amazing. White has the initiative here. And also, like, the rook is on the same diagonal as the bishop and the queen. So this is not really amazing. But yeah. So bishop f4 now. And now you can just see that we just have the advantage. Knight takes d6. Rook takes d6. And we have this idea with bishop b5 check. And after bishop d7, for instance, we can actually take on d6. Because after bishop takes b5, we take it with check. So we win a whole rook here. We win a whole rook. Yeah, so this is just really good for white. So we should never be afraid of knight takes e4. That is what I want to like come to with this. We should never be afraid of knight takes e4, because we have all of these ideas with queen e2, and the king just becomes way too weak on e8. So let's look at another line. And this line, the computer is going to say is horrible, because practically if black actually plays like the best thing, it is bad. But it's pretty awesome, guys. I mean, I won against the 2350 with this opening in a rapid game, or almost 2400 FM with this opening. I won in the World Youth Championship. I beat a girl who was 2200 from India a few years back. Like, it's a crazy, amazing opening. I've gotten so many, like, one positions, because the line that black needs to play to get an advantage, it's so difficult to know if you're not like I would almost say if you're not like over 2500. Like, it's a really, 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 really difficult line to know, because not a lot of people play this with white. So not a lot of people have prepared this. So if they have prepared this, then yes, then you know what, then you just go there and you say, all right, you're better than me. I am sorry. I thought that I was gonna surprise you, but you're just way too clever for me. So yeah, then we just resign, okay? It's fine, but not a lot of people are gonna know this. I am telling you. Not a lot of people are gonna know this. But yeah, let's go ahead and show it. So the line that I'm gonna show you, which is like my favorite line ever, is if black plays g6 here. And I'm actually gonna like take away the computer, because you guys are just gonna hate me for showing you something that the computer says is horrible. But after, you know, the really cool thing with this opening is that if you actually have like a pretty strong computer, I remember analyzing this before. If you have like a pretty strong computer, like at first it's just gonna say that you're completely lost, but then after like I don't know, 10 minutes of analysis or something, it's gonna say that actually white has a lot of compensation, which is really cool. Which is really, really cool. So I'm going to turn it off just for this line, because it's an epic line, and guys, just don't care about the computer thing, because this is an awesome line. I love it with all my heart. So just, you know, let's just look at it. Let's just look at it this way. So, guys, in this line, we're going to be sacrificing a bunch of stuff, okay? So just be ready for it. Just be ready. So after g6, the move that I'm going to show you is to go e5 here. That is the one. After g6, the move that I'm going to show you is to go e5. And when we go e5, what we're doing is that we are threatening this knight. This knight doesn't really have any really good places to go to, but we're also threatening this pawn. So if you don't take back, then I'm just going to take here on d6. And we're going to open up the e-file, and black's king is going to be really unsafe. So you don't want to allow taking on d6. So you do want to take here. So black will almost all times take on e5. And After d takes e5, the idea here is to go d6. d6, people, we go e5 and d6. We're giving two pieces, or two pawns here. We're giving two pawns as white immediately. So that is, yeah, this opening one is pawn structure. I mean, come on, look at this. Really looks really weird the first time that you see it. You're like, why would I ever give all of these pawns? Like, why am I giving all my pawns? We are pawn grabbers in this channel and we're just giving away all our pawns. Like, what are we doing? Are we just trying to lose? No, that's not. We're trying to win. So this is the opposite of pawn grabbing. That's what I'm saying. The complete opposite. So here we go, d6. And most times, I mean, black just has to take on d6 because we're threatening to go knight c7 check here, winning the rook. So black sort of has to take on d6 here. So black will take on d6. And the idea in this position is that, okay, we've given away two pawns, but we're going to have a lot of development for white. We're going to have a lot of development. Actually, guys, here the move is to go bishop g5. And what we're trying to do here is that we are just trying to get our pieces, like, we're just trying to develop our pieces. We have a lot of piece activity. This bishop on c4 is really strong. It's looking at f7. This bishop is pinning this knight. This knight is looking at d6, so this bishop has really restricted movement. This king is in the center and it's pretty unsafe. This queen can go to a lot of places, to d5, to f3. It can go to a lot of places here now. So we actually have a lot of piece development here. And the reason why I'm saying that this line is a very difficult line to refute is because pretty much the only move that black has here to get a better position than white is knight a, oh, sorry, no, not knight a6. What am I doing? It's rook a5. So black has to find rook a5 to be better in this position. And even then, it's going to be okay for white. Like, even then, it's going to be completely okay for white. You're going to get in an equal position. So this is why I'm saying, I mean, maybe black has a slight advantage, but that's what I'm saying. So black has to find rook a5, and tell me, out of how many people here, how many people without having seen this before would go rook a5 here? So rook a5 is actually the only move that, you know, that actually holds everything together in a good way, which is really interesting. And you're probably going to ask yourselves, why would you go rook a5? It looks like a move that makes no sense. And the reason why you want to go rook a5 is because this rook is in a lot more trouble on a8 than what one would think about. A lot more. It doesn't really look like it's in that much trouble here, but it's in a lot of trouble because we're threatening stuff like queen f3, winning either this knight or the rook. We're threatening stuff like, for instance, taking on f6, queen takes, knight c7 check, this rook falls. So in a lot of different lines, the rook on a8 will just be lost. Because rook a7, we just take the rook. Rook a6, we have the same idea. We take, and then we go knight c7 check. Same idea. If rook a4, we just take it, and rook a3 is not possible. So rook a5 is actually the only place that the rook can go to. So what black needs to realize here is that if they don't go rook a5, they're probably gonna lose some material here. And yeah, I mean, I've played against a lot of like 2400s, and not a lot of people find rook a5. And I'm not gonna say that I've won all games then, because I mean, obviously they've outplayed me at some point, but I've got a better opening, and that's what I'm trying to show here. I'm just trying to show how you can get a better opening. Then what happens the rest of the game, then that's, you know, that's for another day. But at least for what happens in the opening, that's what we're here for now. So so yeah. Not a lot of people find this rook a5 if they haven't seen this before. So we're gonna look at other moves instead of rook a5, because rook a5, to be honest, it's gonna be a bit better for black. But let's say that, for instance, black goes bishop e7 here. You know, just sort of getting away from this pin, making sure that the queen is not pinned here. So what happens then? Well, I mean, then there are ideas of, I'm pretty sure that here you take on f6, takes, and then you go knight takes d6, check, king f8, we can see, and then we have knight takes f7, I believe. And then we're getting back our two pawns. In this position, we already are two pawns up, But not only that, this king is super unsafe, this rook is hanging, and we're just threatening a bunch of different stuff. Maybe bishop d5, we're threatening getting this knight out, threatening this pawn. Like, we just have a lot of piece development here. So this is nothing to worry about. Bishop e7 is just a move that just gives a huge advantage for white, because we're just going to get both of our pawns back, and we're going to have a lot of piece activity, and we're going to remove this knight takes c8, because that's not the idea. We're going to promote that one. Awesome. So knight takes f7. So, bishop e7, not a move to worry about. So let's look at another move then. What happens if, for instance, bishop g7? Well, then we just take on d6 immediately, I believe. Now we just take on d6 immediately, same thing as the other line, nothing to worry about. What happens if bishop e7? That's actually a really, sensitive move. And this is actually what this girl from India played against me in the World Youth Championship a while ago. And now I just need to remember this line. That's everything I need to remember. Yeah, it's bishop d5 immediately, guys. This is a really cool move. That's the one, guys. That's what I thought. It's bishop d5 immediately. Bishop d5 immediately. So cool, this move. Isn't this like an amazing move? Like, just look at this. I actually played this against her. I was just like blitzing out the opening because I remembered until bishop d5 and some other, moves as well. And she was like, "What are you doing, bishop d5? What is this? What is this?" Really weird move, but it's really interesting. And the idea is that after bishop d5, if knight takes d5, then we're winning the queen. Okay? The computer is even saying that sacrificing the queen is the best line in this variation. So just imagine how good this is for white if the computer says that the best thing black can do is to sack their queen, So yeah, so knight can take, but then we take the queen. So typically what a lot of people would do is to go bishop takes, but then in this position we go bishop takes f6, and now the queen needs to take back on f6 because otherwise we take the rook. So queen takes f6, and in this position we go queen takes d5. We're threatening this rook. The only way to defend it is to move it. There's no piece that can defend the rook on a8. So the rook needs to move, and the rook can go to a5, not to a6, because then we have knight c7 check. The rook can go to a4, but I believe that there's gonna be a really messy line. We can go rook a5. Then there's knight c7 check, king d8, and queen b7. Oh man, it's been a long time since I saw this. This is bringing back memories of preparation. This is really nice. Really nice. Just look at this variation. Like, imagine being able to play this out in a game. Like, it's the best feeling in the world. This is an awesome opening, isn't it? I've just been waiting for someone to play g6 against me with the Bengal, but they never do. And the really interesting thing here is that this knight has so many problems now. The only way to save the knight in this position is to go knight e7. There's just no other way of doing it. There's no piece that can defend this knight, which is really interesting. So knight here is the only move. And I mean, this is just such a great position for white. So I think that you can go here knight d5, I believe is the move. Yeah, so knight d5, and there's just nothing really that you can do. I mean, the threat is to go knight d5, and whenever the queen moves, to go queen c7 check and queen c8 checkmate. So we can look at this. So queen here, and then queen c7, and then queen c8 checkmate. We're not just winning a rook, but it's pretty much just going to be checkmate. So this is just a really cool line. And bishop b7 looks like a very sensitive move, but actually bishop b7, I'm pretty sure just, like, it gives such a huge advantage for white. I don't want to say that it's just winning for white, but it does give a huge advantage for white after bishop d5. So it's almost winning for white after bishop d5 here, which is really cool. Okay, so let's look at another move then that's possible. We have looked at bishop g7, bishop e7, bishop b7. What other move do you want to do, chat? What other move do you want to do in this position? Knight d7. Oh yeah, actually I forgot. Knight bd7. But I believe that here, like, worst case scenario, we can just take on d6. We can just sort of chill and take on d6, I believe. So I think that worst case scenario we can do that. But let me see if we have anything else. Maybe actually, no, you know what we have here? We have queen b3, I believe. Queen b3, because the only way to defend f7 seems to be to go queen e7, but then there's actually knight c7 check. So I think that queen b3 is a really strong move here. I think that move is really strong in that position. So I don't really know how you're gonna defend f7 otherwise after queen b3. And if you go something like bishop there, I mean, okay, then we can take here, so that just sucks. But maybe if you go bishop here, you're gonna check, and actually you have a checkmate here. Another checkmate in a couple of moves. Another checkmate in a couple of moves. Actually, you want to give it up? Well, if you give it up, then you see what happens. This is what happens if you decide to give it up. Queen b6 or something? Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and see. Well, yeah, but if you go queen b6, I mean, I'm not going to say that this is winning for white, but we have a lot of play here. But that's maybe a really decent move to be honest. So there's not a lot of play here. Exactly, guys. There's not a lot of play for black here. So what else do you guys want to know? I think that knight a6 is another line. I think that this is like the last one we can look at before rook a5, which is like the main move, or the best move at least. Maybe not the main move, but the best move. So knight a6, and here I just need to think about this. I think that it was queen f3, which was the move, threatening both this knight and the rook. I think it has to be queen f3. It just wins a piece here. So yeah, it's a double attack. Both the knight and the rook are attacked here. So yeah, both of these are hanging. So here we have another move. So that's what I mean. This, Mel, oh, thank you. So that's what I mean. Like, this opening is full of tricks. Like, you might say that rook a5 just gives a slight advantage for black, but come on. This is just awesome. Like, just getting the opportunity to play something like this in a chess game. Like, how can you not play the coffee opening after seeing this? I mean, it's just awesome, isn't it? It just brings like so much life into chess. It's just amazing. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So yeah. So queen f3 just wins a piece here. So this is just pretty much GG. Only move for black in that position, if black does not want to get a lot of a worse opening, black needs to go rook a5. So this is black's only move, basically. But look at this, like, even after rook a5, which is, like, the best move for black, it's even, like, it's giving a slight advantage for white after knight f3. So it's not that bad, you know? And then, okay, now the computer is saying that it's sort of bad. I mean, it's just, I think that h6 was the main move that I remember seeing. And I think it's, oh yeah, this is how the line goes. Knight takes e5. If takes, then we have queen takes, king takes, and, well, I can show it. Takes, bishop takes, check. We win their rook. This is just winning. So it's not possible. So after knight takes d5, you have to take on sorry, you have to take on g5. That's the move. And after this, then you can take on f7, and this just becomes really complicated. Knight takes f7, then you have to go queen e7 check, because otherwise we're winning this exchange. Queen e7 check, and then king f1, and then we're like gonna try to take on d6, I mean d5. This is just a lot of theory, so this will be better for black, but it's a lot of theory. I think the knight d6 here was one idea. Knight b d6, I think it's one idea here. King d7, take maybe on h8. Like, come on, look at this, guys. I mean, this is just so long. But yeah, there's like a bunch of tactics still here. There are a bunch of tactics. So yeah, but this is basically, it's a full mess, but it's gonna be an equal mess for you as it is for your opponent, basically. So, I mean, guys, I cannot, like, know this opening and not show you. Like, that's impossible. This is, like, the coolest thing in the world. And also for everyone who is, you know, who's arrived a bit later and hasn't seen this, I'm gonna be doing a YouTube video about, I'm gonna be doing a YouTube video on this. And actually, guys, our YouTube channel is gonna be a lot more active. Yeah, so you guys are gonna see it's gonna be pretty awesome. It's gonna be pretty awesome. But from now on, the YouTube channel is gonna be really active. Just so you know, so several times a week we're gonna be posting there. And if you haven't been to a YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe because it's gonna get really active. So don't miss out on that. I'm really excited about it.